Okay, stop what you're doing. Put down the work you're doing, stop the car, pull over. You're going to want to take notes for this one. I had Richard Weylman on the show. This guy is a genius when it comes to acquiring and keeping clients or customers for a very, very long time. In fact, he wrote the book on it. He wrote the book, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life. This thing is awesome, and you're going to want to check not only the book out, but this episode out. The reason I told you to stop what you're doing is because right here in this episode, he gives us tactic after tactic after tactic in succession really quick. And you're going to want to take notes because this is gold. So much of this stuff I already teach. People pay me thousands of dollars for me to tell them these things. And some of these things are brand new to me, and I totally learned stuff. In fact, I voiced that in the show. You'll see stuff that I have never even learned. He's done studies. He's done focus groups. He knows exactly what works in terms of selling your product. If you really want to make sales and level up, absolutely watch this.
Welcome to Scale Your SaaS, the podcast that gives you proven techniques and formulas for boosting your revenue and achieving your dream exit. Brought to you by a guy who's done just that multiple times. Here's your host, Matt Wolach.
Hello and welcome to Scale Your SaaS. Very excited to have you along with us. Thank you very much. And by the way, if this is your first time joining us, what we do here is we're here to help you understand how to gain new customers, basically generate some leads. Let's close those leads. Let's know how we do that. Let's make sure we understand how to scale our team and we know how to keep them so that they actually don't leave us, those customers. If you want to know those things, definitely hit the subscribe button right now. That way you'll be notified of all of our upcoming episodes where I talk to some of the best people in the world at how to grow your business. And one of those best people certainly lives up to that name. His name's Richard Weylman, and I've got him with me. I am so delighted. Richard, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Matt. Thanks for the invitation. It's a privilege.
The privilege is mine. Let me make sure everybody knows who you are, Richard. Richard is a coach, a speaker, and an author. Richard, he is an award-winning business consultant. He's a Hall of Fame keynote speaker. He's a Customer Experience Hall of Fame inductee and two-time international best-selling author who delivers personalized, prescriptive strategies and tactics to audiences around the world, regardless of their role, so that they can create delighted brand advocates. He's also the author of the upcoming book, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life. He was just telling me this thing is already flying off the shelves. I cannot wait to read it myself. And we're going to be able to get an advanced understanding of some of these things, how you can do those. You can acquire and keep clients for life for your business. So Richard, thank you so much for coming on and being here.
Well, thanks, Matt. And I'm really looking forward to this opportunity to take your questions, but most importantly, to really plant some ideas, some tactics and prescriptions into your constituents so that they can grow their business and have a business of distinction. Thank you.
I love that. So tell me, what's been going on with you lately and what do you have coming up?
Well, very briefly. Okay. Excuse me. My new book is coming, 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life. I've been speaking for many years. I've done over 4,000 keynote presentations all over the world. I've flown almost 8 million miles. So what happens at the beginning of the year, companies getting started. So I just finished a 19-city tour in North America of speaking at conferences, kickoff meetings, all different types of companies, from fast food to an NFL team to financial services, real estate, et cetera. So that's one. And then we've got several big consulting projects. I'm very blessed to have a great consulting team and business. And so my consultants, my coaches, were working on several major projects. And then, of course, I've got the book, 100 Proven Ways. And as I mentioned to you, before it even got released to the public, they had to do a second printing to keep up with orders. So I'm just grateful. And of course, doing podcasts, to have the privilege of being on with somebody like yourself, who really has set the bar for a lot of people and helped a great number of people in the software business. That in and of itself is a real blessing for me. So we've got a lot going on, but we're really, we're grateful. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Hey, it's Matt. If you're anything like me, you check your website analytics and you see people coming to your site, but you have no idea who they are or what they're doing. Plus, why aren't they converting into leads? That's why I now use Lead Feeder. This thing is slick. Lead Feeder is a tool that shows me which companies are coming to my site, plus which pages they visited and in which order. So I can see their interest level just by what they're doing. You can use it too. You can track your site visitors' behavior and integrate the data from Lead Feeder with your CRM that helps make your lead generation efforts more targeted. The result, website traffic converts to sales. Click the link in the description and go to leadfeeder.com for a free demo and get a free extended premium trial when you let the rep know that you heard Lead Feeder through the Scale Your SaaS podcast. Finally know who's visiting your site with Lead Feeder. Do it. And we're back. Thank you very much for the kind words. That's so awesome that you have that, and it's really cool. I know a lot of people are interested in the book. I want to talk about that in a sec, but
Sure.
Before I get into that, you're going all over the place. You're helping these people. You're spending a lot of your time. What made you realize at some point that you wanted to help others, that you wanted to help people get to their success?
Well, I think it probably started, I think the trigger. Well, I was an orphan. My mother died when I was 5. My dad died when I was 6. I lived in 19 foster homes. I went to 11 different schools. So you really learn how to relate to people, survival, and all those things. And then I sold encyclopedias, cemetery plots, cookware, all types of things door to door. I worked in corporate America for Xerox. But I went to work for Rolls-Royce, and how I got there is an odd story. But I went to work for a dealer in the Rolls-Royce business. We built the third largest Rolls-Royce dealership network in the world. And he kept coming to me and he said, you have the gift of understanding the consumer's point of view. You should share that with others. And I think that, and the fact that I really feel as though that I do have a desire to break complex things down into actionable tactics. I had a client of mine say to me, Richard, the thing when you come on stage, you take this really complicated topic and you break it into prescriptive tactics, and everybody walks out there and goes, I can do that. And it's hard to explain, and it's not really me, it's just a gift that I have. And I think part of it's based on life experience, that's all. But that's what motivated me when his name was Howard Van Bortelen, built a massive organization. He's passed away now, but he said, Richard, you just need to share how you see the consumer's point of view. And it's not something you can say, well, here's how I do it, but I can teach people to see it from the consumer's point of view. It's an odd thing, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I love it, because that's what I try and coach as well. Is so many times I talk with salespeople, and these salespeople are saying things like, well, I would love to, and you need to do this, and it would be good for you to do that. And they're always thinking it would be good for them if that person did that. It would be good for the company or good for the sales rep themselves. But if we can get into their head and understand from their perspective what's best for them, and I love it from their point of view, it's so much more powerful for them in terms of taking action and making a decision. And in more ways than not, they're going to sign up more often.
That's exactly right. My previous book before this, 100 Proven Ways, was The Power of Why, Breaking Out in the Competitive Marketplace, in 7 languages now. But that book really speaks to how do you get the consumer's point of view into your business. Just to give you an illustration, lots of times people say, Richard, what do you think? And I often say, it doesn't matter what I think. When I wrote this current book, people say, well, what are you going to write about? What do you think? No, I'm going to talk to the people in the stucco house and find out what they're thinking. And if we can find out what they're thinking and we can convert that into an actionable step, we're going to all win. So to your point, that's exactly what, even as a software developer, as a leader, as a visionary, we have to think, what is the outcome? What do these people want? How can we deliver it in such a way that it's, I don't want to make it sound too simplistic, it's pretty much point and click, that we can get there from where they are to where they need to be, and they get great value out of that experience.
I love it. And that is, you do make it very simple. You take down something complex and make it simple, but that really is what it's about. If we can get them to realize that it is in their best interest, then that's what it's all about. They're trying to solve a problem. Let's help them understand that this solution that we are selling is the way to do that. So I just love how you make it easy, Richard. I do want to talk about the book. I mean, 100 proven ways to acquire and keep clients for life. Obviously, these are things that a lot of people want to do. We want to be able to acquire clients. We want to make sure they don't leave, they stay with us. So what are some of these best tips that you've been able to learn over the years that you've put into this book?
Well, first, let me suggest this, that there's a lot of people running around the world that says, yeah, the customer's on a journey. We have to take out the bumps in the journey. My view is, and as a consultant and having worked with all different types of industries too, as I mentioned, I don't want them to be on any journey. I want them to come here and stay here. That's it. We don't want a customer on a journey. Now, people say, well, you're being simplistic, Richard. We mean on a journey through our company. Well, they're not on a journey through the company. They're going through an experience with your company, and you're in charge of that experience. And we know that 1 out of 3 people will leave a company if they have one bad experience. So consistency is pretty important. So that really got me thinking about it. So the second thing, I realized that people today are going, after the pandemic, I did tremendous amount of interviewing people, calling people, talking to people in my network and many outside and clients. And what I realized is people are going through a great reevaluation. They're evaluating, am I with the right doctor? Am I with the right dry cleaner? Am I with the right car? Have I got the right financial advisor, the right real estate agent? Am I listening to the right TV? Am I on the right station? All of these things. Do I have the right software platform? Whatever it might be. And so as a result of that, people are moving, and there's a lot of money in motion, a lot of people in motion. And it occurred to me, what's going to keep people to stay? What are they looking for? And that's when I began to do the investigation, if you will. And I went back to all my experiences and all the different industries. And I said, what is really going on? And what it turned out, there are 4 things people are looking for, Matt. They're looking for somebody that's kind, somebody that's thoughtful, somebody that's caring, and somebody that's empathetic. And if a company and an individual demonstrates those 4 things, no amount of competitive dollars are going to dislodge them. So we began, I had interns, I made a lot of phone calls, talked to people. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of people. And we just said, what do you really look for? Well, we expect that the air conditioning guy is going to be competent. We expect that the software is supposed to work. Well, we want to know, if I call customer service, are they going to be kind and thoughtful and caring? Are they going to be empathetic? Or are they going to talk down to me? Does that make sense? Are you with me? Don't be so condescending. I don't know if I'm with you. But when you make a point, just simply stop and say, have I explained that in a way that's helpful? As opposed to, does that make sense? Or are you with me? I know this is complicated. Are you able to keep up there, Mrs. Wilson? I know, I'm very smart on this side of the teleprompter. So you have to begin to realize the impact of your words and your actions. So a couple of tips. Stop sending your emails best. People, I can't even say on air. Unbelievable some of the comments that even at my interns were with. Boy, these people are really mad about that word. And I said, well, let me make, and I was like, golly, best. They hate it when somebody signs their email best, like best, Richard. People would say, best what? Best for them? Best for me? What does that mean? That's just a throwaway line. They don't really mean it. They're not being sincere. I mean, you get all this and you're like, whoa, people are touchy. But then you realize, no, what people are looking for is a relationship. They don't want to be a transaction. So we began to ask them, what do you like? Do you like sincerely yours? Too institutional. They want warm regards, kind regards, even best regards is better. But they want to feel as though they have a relationship. Another component. Stop telling people to feel welcome to call. Almost everybody has a cell phone. It's free for the most part. You just pay your monthly. Feel welcome to call is far more gracious. And we said to people, how do you feel about free? I don't like it. What would you like? Well, they ought to be more welcoming. Oh, how about feel welcome to call? Oh, wonderful. We polled 1,000 people. 91% said that is wonderful. Well, I guess my feeling is if we can change 2 words and come up with wonderful, I'm in. So, feel welcome to call. Another thing, know their name. Dr. Donna Wilson may not want to be called Donna. She may want to be called Dr. Wilson. Sam may be Sam or Samuel. David might be Dave or Dave, but you need to know. Elizabeth might be Elizabeth, Beth, Betty, or my friend in Atlanta who's 83. Wonderful gal, very wealthy. She won't work with a financial advisor because they all insist on calling her Elizabeth. And she says, my name is Lolly. because when I was a little girl, my grandfather always gave me lollipops when he came over, and he called me Lolly, and I've been Lolly my whole life.
Wow.
And she said, I met with a financial advisor, and I said, I want you to call me Lolly. He said, oh, that's a funny, goofy name. She said, I walked out.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So again, words matter. But here's the point. T. Boone Pickens never went by T. My first initial is C. Richard Weylman. I get emails, Dear C. I don't read them because I know there's no sense of connection there. Another thing on your website, stop, my account. Why do you change it to something else? We worked with a major bank, and they had my account, and so we did an audit for them. And I said, well, why don't you change that to my Leumi or my Truist or my Bank of America or my software or maybe my representative or my company login. But it shouldn't be my account, because we poll people and they say, we hate it when they call us an account. We don't want to be an account. We want to be an individual. We want to have a relationship with these people. So all of these little things that I've obviously put throughout the book, and I wrote the book. I didn't want to write. I mean, it's I've written 124 textbooks and video programs, and as you mentioned, 2 international bestsellers, and now this one. It's consuming. And so I kind of fought it for a long time. But when I finally sat down to write it, I wrote nonstop for weeks. And when I was done, I walked out of the office. My wife looked at me and said, you're done, aren't you? I said, yeah, I'm done. She said, how many are there? I said, I have no idea. She said, can I go count them? I said, sure, of course you can. And she came out and she had tears in her eyes. She said, honey, there's 100. And that's how the book became 100 Proven Ways. And every one is what to do, why it's important, how to do it with an actual antidote, and the outcome that you'll receive, and exactly step by step how to do it. So those are just a couple. I'll give you a couple other. May I give you a couple other tips, Matt?
Yeah. First of all, I'm loving it, because the thing where you say at the end of email, best, I'm guilty of that. I put that because I had no idea that was so bad, but I love learning how to make my process better. So you're going to be seeing warm regards from me much more often.
Good. Yeah.
Well, that's a great tip.
But again, it's the people in the stucco house that are saying, we just don't like it. Best is such a throwaway. It's like sincerely yours.
Yeah.
Well, what would you like it to be? Well, can't they say kind regards or warm regards or maybe even best regards? It's better than just me. That's how one guy told me, it's me. I said, what does that mean? Well, best is just me. Like, I'm trying to get out of here. So that was interesting. A couple other things. A lot of salespeople I'm calling to follow up with you, Matt, see what decision you've made.
Mm-hmm.
Well, stop. Just stop. I don't have anything else to offer you, Matt, but I'm really hoping you made a decision and you forgot to call me to tell me you did. That's why I'm following up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had figured out, and talking to people when I wrote my last book, and now this one, I went back and we interviewed a lot of people. And I asked them specifically in our consulting work, why don't you move forward? I saw a great presentation. Why don't you move forward? And their answer was, most salespeople don't tell us what the next steps are.
It's amazing. I am a big proponent of this.
And then I realized when people said, I'm following up, don't ever call to follow up. Hi, Matt, Richard Weylman. I'm just calling very quickly. I've identified 2 additional ways and steps we can take to help you get that software that you really need for your business. I'd like to meet with you again and take you through these 2 additional steps. In other words, use curiosity to your advantage, and it pulls people back into the conversation, perhaps uncovers some hidden agenda or objection or whatever the case might be, some, let's call it stumbling block that you can then overcome by doing what? By getting on their side of the table, putting your arm around and saying, I've identified some additional steps that I believe we can take on your behalf, 3 most powerful words, on your behalf. And how do we come up with it? Because we ask people all the time, and my interns will say, people keep saying, I want to know what they're going to do on my behalf, what they're going to do on my behalf, what they're going to do on my behalf. So I'm looking at the scorecard, and I'm like, holy moly, you made 100 calls, and 28 people have said something like my behalf, on my behalf, did for me, did for me. I'm like, let's put that into our coaching and consulting, but to see how that works out. Well, I mean, the number, startling, just startling. It's almost a sense of subliminal obligation that people, you did this on my behalf. Well, okay, let me get right over here and find out about that. Is that helpful?
I love it. And I'm a big believer in words as well. There are specific words within a software sales process that if you say them, it's going to kill the deal, and specific things that you can do that actually accelerate the deal. And you're teaching me a lot of awesome stuff. I've never used that on my behalf before, but it definitely sounds like a good way. When you talk about following up, one of the least favorite things I see that I see people following up with is, I just wanted to check in.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, what is that? First of all, they don't care what you want. It doesn't matter what you want. You just saying that makes you sound stupid and salesy. And to check in, like, what is that? What does that mean? You're right. Like, why didn't you buy my thing yet? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, many years ago, I called a CEO and I said, I'm just calling to touch base. He said, excuse me? I said, I'm calling to touch base. He said, great. I'm on home plate and you're out. And he hung up on me. That's when I realized, you know what, checking in and following, no, what we're going to do is we always want to call with the idea that we're going to advance the relationship. Doesn't have to be advance the sale, advance the relationship. That's why all of you out there, I'm sure, have a CRM, customer relationship manager or something you call it. In our organization and all the firms we work with around the world, the first thing we do is get them to understand it. Yeah, it's a CRM. Maybe it's Salesforce, whatever it is. But you really need to build it out as a CXM, customer experience manager, and set up fields for things like where do the kids go to school and what do they do and what are they interested in and do they drink wine? If you do, if you're going to take them to the ball game and drink beer or wine, what's the case? Or maybe they don't drink at all, so don't invite them to a wine tasting as an example. And this happens all the time in business.
For sure.
So take your CRM and turn it into a CXM. You'll win a lot more business that way. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely helpful. I think that's kind of one of my big philosophies is instead of trying to sell, try to help. And that's the thing. If you can get an understanding of their experience and what I'm gleaning from this, Richard, is so much of what you teach, you've learned by asking the questions and learning from the people is, hey, what would you rather have on the email? How would this rather be? And I teach this all the time. You have to know your market, understand the people you're selling to, learn from them, have as many conversations as you can so that you know the best way to approach them and speak with them and the lingo and what's going to actually work instead of the things that people have tried before that don't work.
Exactly. Spot on the screws, Matt. And then you can say, when you mention a feature or an attribute of your product, or let's say you're selling a software program, great. Well, people love to talk about the feature benefit. People don't buy either one. What they buy is that in the middle, what it means to them. So if you say, the great thing about this particular software program is it's really maintenance free. We do updates overnight and it really works for you on a long-term basis. And the nice thing is you can have multiple users and it's really great. But let me tell you what that means to you. That means you can have the same people on the same interface doing the same thing at the same time with no downtime on the server. And the benefit to you is that you're going to be able to scale efficiency and effectiveness in your business. But what did they buy? The no downtime. That's what they bought. So I often, I speak for some nonprofits that, I try to help there when I can. And they always want to raise money. And I always ask them, raising money so that. They're like, what do you mean? I said, so that. Well, what do you mean? I said, when you raise money so that something happens. I had a church in Atlanta wanted to pay off their debt. And I kept asking them, so what do you want to do? Well, we want to pay off the debt. So that what? So we're debt free? No. Why do you want to? Well, we want to pay off the debt so we can build another building. I said, so you want to pay off the debt so you can get some more debt? Is that kind of the plan here? They were like, well, we hope not. I said, why don't we change it? Why don't we have a plan called Let Us Rise Up and Build so that we can pay off the debt and build the school we want to build. 3.5 years, raised $30 million. So that.
It's the same philosophy. I actually call it the so what test. So when you're selling a software, just like you had said, when this happens all the time when I'm reviewing demos of sales reps and they go through and they say, oh, here's this really cool report that has this and this. And my thing is, it's a so what test. If you can say so what after that, then you're not done. You have to continue to get them to the results, just like you said. And so many times they'll say something, and I think we're very similar, Richard. I'll just be like, so what? What do you mean? They're kind of thrown off. But so what? What does that mean? You have to get them to that final result.
Right. It has a double down rollover feature that gives you double reporting in. And it's a wonderful, fantastic. It comes up on your screen. It's great. Well, so what? My question is, am I going to know how much I sold last month? Well, you can, but that's a little tricky. No,
exactly. That's fantastic. Well, this is really awesome. Unfortunately, we're running out of time here, Richard. Just one last parting shot. What advice would you have for software leaders who are trying to grow their business, trying to make sure they build a strong foundation of great customers? What would you share with them? Focus
on the experience that people are going to have and really build a culture where you care about people, where you're thoughtful, where you're kind, and you're empathetic. And use curiosity. Reach out to your customers, find out what works for them. When they buy, if I buy software today, a year from now, I should get something from you. A thank you note for another year as a satisfied or delighted advocate. Your whole objective is to build a portfolio of great memories with your customer base so they become ambassadors for your brand in the marketplace. And that starts with understanding that the experience they have starts with you. Customers are going to have an experience. You're the one that decides what it's going to be. And then the rest of the organization is mobilized to make that, if you will, vision a reality. Think about Amazon. I talked to Bezos way back when he sat in that little room in Seattle with that pasted on the wall. And what did it say? I want to build the most customer-centric company in the world on a piece of scrap paper. And guess what? They pretty much done a decent job of it. But he stayed true to the vision. Doesn't matter whether you agree with it. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. Chick-fil-A, same thing. Truett Cathy was a great friend of mine. And he always said to me, Richard, he was a founder. He died a couple of years ago of skin cancer. He said, Richard, I always wanted for my team never to forget, we're not in a chicken sandwich business. We're in the people business. Well, folks, if you're in a software business, what you need to be is in the people business, the user's experience business. And if you do that, you're going to win market share. And more importantly, you're going to build a business of distinction. Thank you.
That's brilliant. We're going to make that a big time quote right there. You're not in the software business, you're in the people business. That's fantastic. And this has been a lot of fun, Richard. Thank you for coming on and sharing this. I've learned a lot. I'm sure the audience has as well. He's Richard Weylman. He is the author of 100 Proven Ways to Acquire and Keep Clients for Life. Richard, by the time this releases, the book will be out. Yeah. So where can people find the book?
They can find it on any of your best bookstores, from Barnes & Noble, Igloo, all of them. And of course, Amazon is carrying the book as well. You can go to my website, Richard Weylman, WEYLMAN.com, richardweylman.com. And you can order it through there. There's also tools. When you buy the book, make sure you go to the website. It's referenced in the book. I put a whole set of tools in there to help you implement the entire book. And they're all free. Just go and use them. I just want you to get better, and I want you to win more business so you can impact the lives of people in a positive way. So richardweylman.com, or on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any of the major book outlets are carrying the book. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll put all that in the show notes. So if you're listening, go grab that right there. Grab the book. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to read it myself. Richard, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure to be with you, Matt.
Absolutely. Pleasure's mine as well. So everybody out there, thank you for being here also. Again, make sure you're subscribed to the show. That was some incredible stuff that Richard just shared with us. Absolute gold that he's given to some of his really high-paying Fortune 500 clients. You're going to want to make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on anybody else coming up in the next few weeks. We've got other great guests, and then you'll be able to get all this gold all the time. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Scale Your SaaS. For more help on finding great leads and closing more deals, go to mattwallach.com.